Welcome back to another episode of The Trenches. This is crypto's #1 live stream where we focused on the best builders in Solana and the crypto ecosystem more broadly. And we have some of the most important conversations that need to be had in crypto. And clearly one of those is around privacy. As we look at the sort of growth of blockchains more broadly, especially once we start using these for mass market payments, it becomes pretty evident that every single person being able to monitor every transaction of every single person in the world is not scalable and is not going to even be legal for the current financial system. And so coming out with private payment networks and ways to conceal PPI and other sorts of identifying information is absolutely critical for the future of crypto. And so Sid and Callum and the entire Payy team have been working on building both a private payment network, a private wallet, and now we had a major release of their new Payy card, which helps to really integrate these both across the traditional crypto landscape and the traditional one that you might use to tap to pay across millions of different merchants. All right, let me get Sid back in here. Looks like his browser crashed. So anyways, incredibly excited to have you guys on. We also have John Charbonneau, who's one of the partners at DBA, one of my favorite crypto investment funds, extremely thoughtful, research-driven, thesis-driven, and also an investor in Payy. So welcome, John. Incredibly excited to have you here on your first Trenches and first Pump.fun live stream. So with that, let's just go around and introduce, just give a quick introduction to you guys. And maybe we'll start with John, just to give a quick introduction. And then as we bring it over to you, Sid and Callum, maybe just talk a little bit about Payy, but we'll get into the details. So don't just give the high level. But I want to actually spend time starting with a story. And you guys spent a ton of time in Argentina, and it's really one of your beachhead communities. And I want to understand, like, what is your favorite story of a customer in Argentina using the Payy network and how it changed and transformed their life and their experience? But let's start with John and then go over to the Payy team. You're on mute right now if you're talking.
Is it working now?
Yeah.
John, we can hear you. Don't make this market crash, bro. Come on.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you getting an echo?
I'm not getting an echo. It does seem like your speech is a little bit delayed from what I see.
I'm going to try leaving and then rejoining in a minute because everything I'm saying, I'm hearing back to myself also.
Oh, that's the worst. That definitely happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get you back in a second. In the meantime, let's jump over to the Payy team.
I can go first. So Sid, Gandhi here. Me and Callum are co-founders of Polybase Labs. We've been building stuff for a few years now. And our recent project we've been working on full-time for the past almost 2 years now, Callum, is Payy. And the goal of Payy is to replace every single bank account in the world, every single TradFi bank account in the world, with an on-chain bank account that gives you self-custody over your savings, over money that you spend or send to people in the future, over your investments, and then to your borrowing or loans that you might want to take out. So that's the full consumer finance journey, and we're looking to bring that on-chain.
Terrific.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Callum. As Sid mentioned, I'm CTO, co-founder of Payy. I have the task of building all the things that Sid promises. But seriously, like, yeah, it's been a lot of fun building something in consumer, building something that's so relatable. I think all of us have had these experiences with trying to use crypto in the real world, and it's like just tough. And so, like, yeah, it just feels good to be working on something that is really making a difference.
Terrific. All right, John is back. John, take two.
Cool. Right. I'm still getting an echo. You guys aren't, right?
We're not getting an echo.
It's
okay. I'm just going to ignore it. It's annoying on my end. Yeah, so I'm one of the partners at DBA. where just a traditional crypto venture fund. I'd say we're generalists in what we invest in. I would say in reality, the stuff that we like investing in is pretty like down the fairway core inference applications I'm a simple guy. I really like very simple use cases of crypto, and I always have. I love Bitcoin. I love payments. I really want private digital cash. I think a lot of people in crypto get like excited about a lot of other things, but those are the two gigantic things that have always gotten me super excited. And Pay is like very much obviously doing one of those. So have been super excited backing them for the past year or so.
Terrific. All right, well, let's jump in. Maybe Sid, kick us off with. We invested in, full disclaimer, 600 Ventures a while ago.
Carl, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Carl?
I can hear him.
All right, we're having some weird bugs right now.
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Dude, video streaming is hard.
I know it's funny. I've never really had an issue with this platform, so hopefully these things resolve themselves and it's not an enduring issue. We invested a while ago in previously what the company is called previously, building something totally different, and then you guys saw an opportunity that was much larger than the initial company that you were working on, and so maybe just walk us through the vision for Pay and what you really saw. And hey, I need a network and we need an app. We can't just build one or the other. And then ultimately how both of those things led you to the Pay card launch, which happened this week.
Yo, Sid, did you hear the question?
I can hear you, Callum, but I literally can't hear the
thing. I've heard of selective
wait,
hearing.
Now I hear you. Just keep talking.
Okay, I guess we'll try this again. If we keep having issues, we'll just pause it and try another time. But the question was, I think you have a master plan. I think a lot of times founders, they struggle to have the long tail vision. They see the immediate road in front of them, but can't put together a long-term roadmap. I think you guys have a really unique, first of all, very deep product mind, but a unique roadmap and approach to how you actually bring about private payments. So kind of walk us through back the genesis of Pay Network and the Pay wallet itself, and then ultimately how those two things led you to the Pay card.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's kind of like humble. Like, I think it was the bear market of 23. And at the time, we were building a decentralized database with ZK Tech, geared towards developers that wanted more scalable data storage on chain. And, it was like super bear market. You guys remember that? Like literally there was like 3 people building stuff in crypto at the time. And, Callum and I started talking and we're like, look, we had this assumption that like more people were going to build stuff with more data, putting data directly on chain. And what ended up happening was like people started putting data off chain. It was fine to have centralized sequencers all of a sudden. It was fine to have like more centralized, parts of your stack and things like that. So I think one day I just kind of went back and was trying to ground myself, and I read the Bitcoin white paper again. And that was like years and years after like I had first read it in 2012. And I was like, wait a minute, like it's been like so many years, been over a decade. And like Satoshi's talking about this great, payments network that's like self-sovereign, and no one can shut it down, and it works, and it's like so great. And then like literally no one uses Bitcoin for payments. And I think there's a lot of people that would have you believe that like a lot of people use crypto for payments. I think folks building Lightning Network would have you believe like tons of people are using Lightning with BTC and like are making payments. I think Ripple would have you believe like literally everyone's replacing Swift today with Ripple, but I've literally never met a single person in my life that did either of those things. I don't know if you guys have. And so I think at the end of the day, it was like, can we actually just complete this original vision? And it was kind of very a humble, small thought, I think, at the beginning. And so what we did is like, I was like, Callum, I think we need to like take the ZK Tech that we've built and make it into like a payments network. And dude, I tell you, in 2023 and 2024, like building a payments network was like people are like, why the hell are you like, why would you do that? That's like the most boring thing we've ever heard of. Like stablecoins, super cooked, payments network, super cooked. like privacy pretty cooked.
Tether's a
bringing them all
rug. Tether's a
together,
rug. Tether's cooked. Everything's
like
cooked.
yeah, like tornadoes completely cooked. Like everything just sucked. But we just had this conviction that like actually what the world needs is private and compliant payments on chain. And so we started building Payy Network, which is the blockchain that we built from scratch. We had to build it from scratch because there's literally no infra that Callum and I found that we could actually build a private payments network with all the attributes that we wanted. So that's a bespoke layer 2 blockchain that we built. And then we were like, wait a minute, like this is all great, but we just built another blockchain, right? It's like that XKCD where it's just like, there's 500,000 standards. I'm just going to standardize all of them. And then now there's 500,001 standards, right? And so like, oh, great, we have another blockchain. So then we started building Payy Wallet, which is a non-custodial wallet. And then over time, we were just like, why don't we just vertically integrate this thing into something like actually just replaces my Chase bank account, right? And eventually that vision started like growing on us. And then the roadmap, the product roadmap for the next 10 years basically just like appeared in front of us, which was just like, yeah, let's just build everything a bank has, right? And there's a lot of different nuances and things like that. But actually, it's much easier when you don't have to do it in TradFi, when you do it custodially, which kind of opens up a lot of things from a regulatory perspective and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of like the overall story. Callum, maybe you want to dive into some of the kind of technical story behind that?
Yeah, it was hard. We like tried to build we did build like the fastest ZK experience. Like I think people are still in shock when they in fact, like we had to go back like multiple times and like tell people that this is ZK that you're using, because at the time back when we started this, like people just could assume that you needed like 100 servers with GPU running to do like one proof, and we got it onto a phone. Like, I believe the first people to get it onto a phone, first people to create a ZK powered network, that was basically a roll up. And so like we had all of these challenges, and like moving forward in this kind of world where it's like, okay, like if you have privacy, like where do you put the data, right? Like normally everything's on chain. You spin up the app and you can just download everything, and it's easy, right? There was like so many extra challenges that we had to figure out and work through, because we were taking, I guess, the hard path, right, of doing things that we felt were needed in order to make the experience work. And that meant like fast block times. It means like really fast proofs on your phone. And hopefully that shows when people use the app. It's the best experience that they've had in crypto. It doesn't feel like crypto. So as I said, like we had to kind of put all this messaging in to be able to remind people that it's actually using under the hood.
Yeah, it's funny. It's such a clean experience that you had to reintroduce crypto terminology, because otherwise it just seems like it's a normal product. I mean, that's how you know when you really nailed a UX. I remember when I was at Google, we were building smart lighting systems, and we made it so easy to set up a light bulb that people didn't even know like that it was set up and complete, and how to address it and how to talk to it. So in the flow, we actually needed to add screens back in after beta testing that actually like educate the user and sort of get them comfortable with the products. It was such a big step change from any sort of like previous device they've used before. So that's like a really good point when you have that. And I'd also agree with you guys that I describe you guys as a series of firsts. I remember in particular being at ECC, I think it was last year, and paying people on the Payy network. And I was like, oh yeah, generated a proof on the phone. Like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, just generated a proof on the phone. They're like, that's impossible. I'm like, it's not. Like, here's the proof. Like, literally, I just paid you 50 cents, and then you were able to decrypt it and claim it on your side. So I think the first to actually launch a private, like a ZK network, because all of them were funded tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, but many of them, when you guys launched, didn't even launch yet. Many of them still have not launched yet, years later. The first to do a proof on the phone, and of course, the first to do a private payments card. And so let's maybe jump to that and talk about the card itself. One of the reasons I love payment cards is, as we know, getting users to change their behavior is really hard, and you need strong incentives to do so. And what this allows is users to go about their everyday activities in the way they would in the traditional system, but start to inherit the strong benefits of crypto and privacy. So maybe talk about the genesis of the card idea. What was the process for you guys to say this is absolutely something that we must do as a company? And how the launch has been, how the rollout's been, and how are users. Well, you can't really tell me how users are engaging the card because it's private. But maybe you can just talk about like feedback you're getting from users about the card.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the genesis. It's just really part of the on-chain bank roadmap, right? And I think we looked at consumer finance in 4 pillars, which is sending, spending, or saving, spending, investing, and borrowing, right? And so this is just a second pillar, which is sending or spending tables. And to connect it to like real world like user interviews and research that we did, we went to Argentina, right? Callum and I lived in Buenos Aires for 3 weeks last year, and we talked to a bunch of people, and we realized like all this Twitter like talking about what was going on in Argentina or what was going on in Turkey or Nigeria or whatever with stable coins was like kind of accurate, but it wasn't like really accurate. And so we had to like talk to people about their daily lives and like what they were actually doing. And we found out that by and large, stablecoins were a savings vehicle. So that's the first pillar, right? So people were using stablecoins to save in a safe and stable way. Now, like it was very unlikely, and like out of all the people we spoke, there was like very few people that were using stablecoins to like actually spend. And so what we realized was like, that's really hard. You have to use like 5 different apps to like move money from here to there, like Binance to on ramp, and then like something else to like convert it there, somewhere else to hold it to earn yield, and somewhere else to like off ramp it or whatever, right? And we're like, actually, we can build this end-to-end experience that allows people to save and spend in stables. And at the end of the day, that's what people want. People want simplicity. People want something that like just works. And so that was the genesis of the card, which was like, hey, can we like integrate the card into this peer-to-peer payments network?
Got it. And so tell me about like what was the hardest part about getting the card live?
Yeah, maybe I can.
I need to ask the guy who does the work because clearly Sid has the ideas and Calum's the guy that does the work. So what was the hardest part about getting the card live?
I think it's surprisingly hard. Like obviously, as I said before, like privacy adds a whole new dimension to everything that we do, and that's really what makes everything so challenging. So yeah, I think it's just this. It's so archaic, the system that we're building on top of, like the card network program. It's like this ancient thing that has all these kind of crazy rules. At the same time, like we're just not willing to like compromise. Like I think we chatted about like, okay, like we'll have this top-up systems. You have like 2 balances, which is like what most crypto apps do, right? They're like, okay, you can top up and you have to move money across. And we're like, no, like that doesn't work at all, right? Like people need to be able to spend this. They need to get an experience which is similar to what you would get, similar to what you're used to, right? And to get that, like we had to engineer this whole system where like we have this custodial note system, like non-custodial note system where like we can't take your money, but we can like settle the transactions that happen on the Visa network via like your balances on your phone, right? And we have to have this constant 2-way sync that's like pulling and sharing information with the phone so that the phone can like authorize these different things that are happening. So yeah, it's a really challenging environment when you're trying to do things properly and with privacy. Like we didn't just like plug in some API and like, okay, that's done. Like it's deeply integrated into the way the phone and the app works and how the network functions.
And John, I know, assuming you're in the same types of deal flow as we are, you've probably seen a bunch of payment cards, right? Where basically, if you're an XYZ founder and looking every cycle, there's a group of founders that don't really know crypto but want to get into it, and so that's not inherently bad, but it means you see a lot of generic pitches. And I think this one, like a debit card linked to stable coins, is like clearly the pitch that just gets like kind of run again and again and again. I'm curious, like from what you've seen, what do you think separates the Payy card from much of the other generic cards that are out there today?
So I'm just going to mute on my side so I can hear myself. So it really is the privacy to me. I mean, I think in the longer term, it's going to be particularly the integration very seamlessly with all of the other services that they'll have in there. Like, I think it's gonna be great when you have a wallet that, you know, you're earning T-bill yield in, and then also spending out of the same account and saving in there. That'll be super useful. But it really is the privacy. Like, this is one of those things that I have just felt like, am I crazy on this as I'm seeing all of these crypto cards and stuff coming out over the past year or two? Where I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Like who the hell would use these things? And I think it's actually easiest to look past that if you're a crypto person, because what you like learned from being in crypto over the past few years was basically some version of like, privacy doesn't matter, or like all of these privacy tech, like these things aren't adopted, people don't give a shit, like we just want to go trade on chain, and like people aren't going to think about this. And I think that's like taking completely the wrong message when the regular world is base case private. Like when you use a credit card in the normal world as a like regular person, you aren't publishing all of your transactions, obviously. And so the fact that like crypto people are now trying to move into normal consumer products while at the same time having this just like full transparency just like makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, it makes sense when it's like I'm just going on trade and like I'm trading some Bitcoins and like people like don't know what my wallet is and like I can probably hide it. Like that makes sense. It doesn't make sense when you're like actually trying to do real world normal things on chain in the back end. So I think people have just learned completely the wrong lessons from looking at the last few years of what got adoption, and just completely ignored the fact that like privacy is like actually a normal thing in the real world. You can't build consumer products and products for serious institutions and then just like make everything public. Like this just very obviously does not work. And so Payy is the team that was obviously just like building in this direction. I mean, the simple way that I describe it is it is by far the most, not even the most, I mean, it is the most usable privacy tech that I've seen in crypto, but it is genuinely the best UX that I've seen of any app in crypto, which is that's the crazy part, is that this is supposed to be the stuff that's really difficult to build a good UX, where it's like client-side proving, it's privacy, it's all of that. And yet this is the only crypto app ever that I have like showed my mom. I sent her $1, she downloaded the app, spent the $1, sent it back to me in a minute. It's super easy. It's terrible technology. Like she's awful. She's like all of the stereotypes of like your mom and grandma can't use anything, and just like it's super easy. And so just like no brainer to me that I think Payy is going to be huge for this very simple reason, because I think everyone else was just approaching it completely wrong from the start.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, what we do on every episode of The Trenches, we always do a demo. That's something that's core, because if we're not showcasing the cool stuff that's being built, we're really doing a disservice to crypto. So at the end, we're actually going to take a look at that UX that John's talking about and walk through the app. So maybe let's unpack the privacy piece. I think we all agree that's the biggest differentiator, but like, what does that mean? And so as a user, like walk me through, a new user says, hey, this is interesting, or I got sent money on this and now I want to get a card. You know, like what does the privacy element actually mean for everyday users? Because again, people might get a little confused because you still need to KYC at some point to get the card and to, you know, use Apple Pay. So kind of walk through, where does the privacy start versus what are just normal parts of interacting with the traditional financial system today?
Yeah, I don't know where Sid's gone. I can answer the question though. So yeah, like when the user downloads the app, everything that they do that's related to sending and receiving payments is completely private on the Payy network. We built our own blockchain to ensure complete privacy when you're on the Payy network. As you mentioned, you have to KYC, which is required whenever you do any card program. So any card program has to do KYC. It's Visa's rules. We wish they didn't. I would love to live in a world where we don't have cards and we can just use QR codes, which actually in Argentina was a huge thing. And so it's great to see some of that adoption away from cards. But right now, you know, if you're living in most countries, like card is the easiest way to pay in real life and the easiest way to pay online. So that's why we need to serve and make it easy for people to transition into the crypto world. Any interaction that you do on the card is, and I think this is a big thing, is that like if you think about any other crypto card, any other crypto Visa card, MasterCard, like all those transactions are on chain. Every single transaction is on chain. So it's worse than you would get if you use like Monzo, Revolut, your Chase Bank, right? Like you're getting way worse privacy than you would get even with those institutions. So like crypto blockchain today and the crypto cards today are like really bad from a privacy perspective. We're able to hide those transactions from the network. Now we still have to process those card transactions still need to be processed on the Visa network. So Visa will see the payments that are made, but no one else gets to see those payments on the crypto network. None of your other crypto activity is tied to that whatsoever. So anything else that you do on the Payy app is not linked to any of those card transactions. So it's as private as you can get while still having a Visa payment card. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add on that.
I just want to say I've been looking at some of the Dune dashboards for the other crypto cards. Like I'll say like the MetaMask card. We have Gnosis Pay on Gnosis chain. We have Cast. We have Redot Pay. Like it's kind of crazy. You can see all the volume. You can see all the individual transactions, and all you really have to do. This is pretty bad. All you really have to do is find like one person that you know has a card, follow them, wait till they make a purchase at like Starbucks, and then look at the time on the blockchain. And most likely, you'll be able to find out what their, like Gnosis Pay, for example, what their Gnosis Pay address is. You'll be able to trace that back to all of the funding that they've done to Gnosis chain from Ethereum or other chains. And then you'll be able to trace that back to like all their DeFi activity and what exchanges they use and how much money they've moved. So like, I'm not like, you can literally go and look that up right now. And you can do that right now. Imagine we bring the next, 10 million, 100 million, billion people on chain. Like, you think that's not going to be exploited? Do you think there's not bad people out there? Yeah, I mean, I think it's just super... I just think it's unethical at this point to build something like that. I think some people are going to get in a lot of trouble as soon as people figure this out. So I mean, it's very serious. Like, it's not just tech, it's not just infra, it's not just like fun consumer app. Like, I don't know, people could get hurt, and I don't know if this has already happened, right? And we don't know about it, but like, that's some real shit. So,
well, two things I've learned. One is there's never going to be a Dune dashboard for Pay Network by default. Yeah. Secondly is don't cross Sid, because he will find you and he will find your transactions, every single one of them. And he is quite experienced at this. Two major things I take away.
What I will do is I will follow you, and then I will convince you to use the Pay card. How about that?
There we go. Well, you guys
should actually do that. That would be so funny. You just like pop up at a shop and just be like, "Hey, I see you're using a different card. That's not okay."
All right. So
illegal in 30 states, but it's all good.
So you guys should all be able to see my screen, I'm assuming at this point. This is actually a really helpful table you guys put together that walks through the Pay card itself. And so maybe just like I don't have to go cover every single one of these. We already covered privacy preserving payments. The self-custody piece is actually really important. Maybe just talk about, because it's interesting a lot of wallets, when you sign up, you'll get asked to save your seed phrase and do these complex things. Pay is super easy. I think, again, the average user may not even know they have the benefits of self-custody. So walk through the self-custody approach that, you guys implemented for the Pay wallet and the Pay card.
Cal, do you want to give like the technical, and then I'll kind of give some like motivation around that?
Yeah, so Pay is completely non-custodial. All the money is on your device. All those notes are on your device. You have your own private key, but we back that up in multiple different places for you to make it easy for you. And then how it interfaces with the card program is it basically gives a non-transferable token that can only be spent by Visa, essentially. So when Visa wants to make a payment, they authorize that payment against funds that you've put in place that can only be sent to the Visa network for that purpose. But at any time, you can withdraw that consent by just spending the money. So that note is just a kind of temporary promissory note to Visa that if you make a Visa transaction, that you can cover the balance of that Visa transaction. And that's done in real time. So as we get in, and this is one of the big challenges we had, is we wanted to do the on-chain proof within the time that Visa gives you to authorize a transaction. So when you're sat at a terminal and you swipe your card, Visa will come through and like request those funds, and only at that time are they given the promissory note and the okay, and we do an on-chain transaction to take those funds.
Wait, that's wild. That's a really short amount of time, right?
Yeah, it's like we had to like negotiate up. They wanted it to be like 300 milliseconds. We were like, that's too, like we can't do a proof in that time, like, and do the block in that time. So like we negotiated like a little bit around that, but yeah, like essentially we do the proof on network before authorizing Visa.
I think
these guys are
total,
Chad.
like,
They negotiated with Visa to increase the time. Just keep that in mind, everyone.
So it's funny because they have standards, right, on the network. You don't want to be sitting there for 10 seconds when you're doing a Visa transaction, right? So I think total you get 3,000 milliseconds, right? So around 3 seconds.
300, yeah, like no, you get 300 milliseconds from us, because there's like 3 different people involved. Like
right, that's what I was gonna say. Like total, you have like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then there's like maybe 4 different parties that are like routing this authorization call. And so you lose a bunch there. And then we have to do a whole Pay network block, which we do blocks in 1 second. Then you have to like do the ZK proof. Like, yeah, and you have to do some locking. So like, it's like, it took us probably 10 to 20x the time and effort. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. 10 to 20x the time and effort, where if we had just like plugged in like some existing like ledgering solution, or like done it on a public chain, and just like done it all off chain essentially, than to do it this way. And like, frankly, Callum and I like talk about this a lot. We're like, damn, we work way too hard to make this stuff work like exactly the way we want it to. And it took a long time for us to build Pay card and ship it, but like all of a sudden you get this leapfrog in capability. Now every single other card is looking around being like, well, what do we do now? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what we're gonna start doing like points, we're gonna start doing cash back. Like, it's all equivalent except for the fact that we're fully non-custodial, fully private. We have this end-to-end stack that we like control everything on, so you're not gonna have stupid declines all the time. Where if you talk to people using other crypto cards, which we did, like they'll be like declines 9 out of 10 times, right? And it's because like their infrastructure is all messed up and they can't get the authorization in, or like some weird thing is happening because there's like off the shelf like APIs that they're using. There's like a million things that can go wrong. And so controlling all of that is really difficult, but I think it's worth it. And like you've seen on Twitter, like if you go read like the real responses from people with like literal screenshots of their Apple Pay, or like videos of them paying at the terminal, like that's not botted, that's not AI, that's like real people being like, this is the best crypto card I've ever used. This is the best like financial product I've ever used. Like, that's insane, man. Like I just get emotional because it's like, that's what we're here for. Like, Callum and I care so much. It's not even funny. And like, I think we care too much sometimes, and we really beat ourselves up about it sometimes. But it's like, I think that's what it takes to build what you see.
That's terrific. John, anything we didn't cover so far that you want to jump in on regarding Pay and the card and maybe even off ramping as well? I think one of the interesting things that, again, you see as an investor that I do is everyone's worrying about getting money onto crypto. And that's certainly an important step. And in fact, it's probably the most important, because there's going to be a generational shift of assets off chain to on chain. But actually, like, you guys have ATM access. Like, people still at some point need to be able to buy regular things and do regular activities. And not only can you save in Pay, but you can also like buy goods and services, and even just get cash if you need to. I mean, actually, that's pretty incredible. So maybe, John, anything else in Pay that we didn't cover that you just, is totally incredible to you and you want to highlight?
I think we pretty much all nailed it there, especially with the card. I mean, yeah, it's really easy for me to finally get super excited about something like Pay, because it is genuinely the thing in crypto that like I use most. Like, this is the default credit card that I use now. Like, plain and simple. I use it all the time. It works great. It works the same as any other card. And this is like part of me just progressively moving everything on chain because like it just works better. Yeah, it's like, it's probably slightly annoying for Sid because it also means that I keep asking him for product features and stuff like that all the time. Like, hey, when am I going to get this one? When is that one going to come out? But it's genuinely like, I'm just like excited to keep using this because it keeps going through my head of like, oh, there's this thing that I could like get rid of that we could just fix. Like I was talking to him the other day, and I mean, like, it's the same thing for a bunch of people. Like I pay my monthly rent with Zelle, and Zelle is a pain in the ass of like, you have arbitrary bank limits that like, depending on what bank you have, it's somewhere between a few $100 and like a couple $1,000 how much you can send in a day. So like for our apartment, we have to send our rent in like multiple pieces every single month. It's really annoying. It was like harder to sign up for that thing than it would have been to just like use Pay with our landlord. And then like just getting those incremental steps so that you can like really comfortably get any normal person on there is going to be huge because it is just better than financial products that I'm using on like a daily basis.
Yeah. Totally agree. All right. So what's next? So we're going to save some time at the end for the demo, but like what's next in terms of you have the Pay network, you have the Pay wallet, you have the Pay card, who can access the card today, who can access the wallet today, and what can you share in terms of your future plans and future growth?
Okay, so I ended up lip reading the second half of that because the audio cut out again, but I think the question is what's next? We are very, very close to launching US bank ramps. So ACH in and out. I've been personally testing that for the last month or so. I want to get it perfect. So it's almost out. But yeah, we have a beta for that actually. So if you want to DM me and like we can get you guys on the beta and you can start moving money in and out. The next thing we'll be focusing on is more of those bank ramps around the world. In parallel, we are also really excited about bringing yield to your Pay balance. And so now you have no excuse of keeping your money anywhere else. If you have savings, your best place to store it will be Pay. Your best place to spend it will be Pay. After that, we will be looking into investments. So bringing like pretty much any kind of asset that you want onto Pay. And we see like RWAs coming on chain. We see stock tokens. We see there's like gold on chain. There's like literally everything you could want on chain now. And bringing that, but the distribution for those RWAs is like really bad right now. Like what's the consumer distribution for all of these things? And so I think bringing a self-custodial, like your grandma or mom could use it kind of thing for all these on-chain assets is like all the RWA people are going to love us because there's actually like we're bringing real demand, right, for these assets. And then, I mean, we don't talk about this too, like we don't talk about like really future stuff a lot because it's, it's out there, but something we're really excited about is potentially using all of this local private data that you have in Pay wallet. So all of your on-ramps, all of your payments, all your card transactions, all of your investments, privately being able to generate proofs on that to assign risk scores and do under collateralized lending. Now that's like, if we could get there, I think we've completely solved consumer banking on chain. It's going to take some time. Like obviously Callum has to build a lot of stuff to make that happen, but that's what we're really excited about.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredibly exciting. It's amazing how bad credit is throughout the rest of the world. I was talking to a team, by the way, incredible team that's doing credit cards out of Mexico. And I was like, well, how do you manage risk? And well, basically in Mexico, let's say you want a $500 credit limit, users are required to put down $500 into the account to get a $500 credit limit. I'm like, well, that kind of like what's the point, right? But for them, it's still better than nothing and being able to actually start building a credit history versus previously, these users have been completely abandoned by the financial system. And to your point, if you now can do that in a under collateralized ladder method versus just having, again, like me needing to put up the exact amount I want to take out, like all of a sudden now you're just continuing to provide services to global people that have been forgotten or underserved by the traditional financial sector. In fact, with all of like DeFi and sort of crypto finance more broadly, it's all about democratization of services that otherwise like people couldn't access. Everything from being able to borrow against your crypto, being a market maker or liquidity provider to earn yield. Every single action is basically things that have existed for a very long time in finance, but now those capabilities are trickling down to the everyday person. And so it seems like you're really on that mission, and you're serving not just users domestically, but in fact, many users globally, which is incredibly exciting.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into a quick demo. I'd love for you to walk through a demo of the product. Feel free to either share screen or pull your phone up if you have to. But would love to just walk through it, some of the features. And of course, this app is open to anyone. Some of the card features may only be available to certain jurisdictions, but definitely recommend everyone check out the Payy app and start sending and receiving crypto privately.
Yeah, I asked for host approval to share. Yep. Okay, cool. This might totally crash my browser. If that's the case, Callum, like, just take over and start sharing. 1 second. Okay, how are we looking
coming up? Yeah.
Okay, so
so right now we see your pub screen.
Where did it go?
I'll tell you what, if this is Sid's browser, maybe we need to also have him build a private browser as well that is superior than Google. Callum, what's next for you?
Yeah. Don't put it past us. We almost built an email client into it.
Wait, so sorry, can you guys see? Hello?
Yeah, I see it. Looks great. Although I think we're losing the audio, but I do see his screen.
Yeah, it's frozen for me.
Yeah, same. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. If you want to try pulling it up, Callum, it seems like Sid's having browser issues.
I think we just lost Callum too. Oh no, there we go.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just going to try and do it on my phone because I feel like that would be better.
Yep.
We can do ZK on a phone, but like screen sharing, no.
Too hard.
Can't do it. Maybe I can just share my phone here, like on the screen. Maybe that's just easier. Cool. So like everyone's probably seen the Payy app by now. The cool thing is, like, when you download it, you don't have to set anything up. Kind of the approach there was like, look, you got no money in your app right now. Why would we make you go through a bunch of steps to like set it up? Just like show people the home screen, right? Simple. And then once you put money in, and if it's not backed up, we'll warn you, and you have to back up your seed phrase. We'll be adding some really cool features there, so like you don't even have to do that anymore. And you can do like social recovery and send like parts of your seed phrase to like parents and your siblings and like people that you trust or whatever. Anyways, that's coming up. Easy stuff is just send, type in an amount, next, add a note, and then you can generate.
And that note, is that just for yourself, or is that also for the receiver as well?
For the receiver as well.
Okay, cool. And
actually, whenever this QR code comes up, like literally whoever scans it will like literally get $5.
There you go. Go claim it.
I don't know who's gonna get this $5, but like someone is. I'm gonna hide it now.
Well, in addition to live stream, we actually see most of the traffic come from the clips and full length stuff we post. So eventually, somebody's going to get it when they're watching one of the clips or the YouTube version, and everyone else will just scan the QR code. And better luck next time.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky person. So
yeah,
the cool thing is the money is in the link, in the sense that there's a UTXO note and the private key required to spend that note hashed into the link itself. So we tried to basically build this like as close to cash as possible, where like you literally give the link to someone, you can write it down, you can email it, you can send it on Telegram or WhatsApp or Signal, whatever you want. And whoever gets that link first basically gets to claim it. We'll be adding more security stuff around there for like higher value transfers and stuff. But yeah, like that's the overall concept.
I thought that was pretty incredible in terms of in the design when they first told me. They're like, you already have 20 different ways to reach people. Why are we going to create a new social network? Like, why don't you just send money through the existing ones? And it's so obvious when you think about that. And that's one of the things that makes it so easy to send money on Pay.
I think I'm hoping 5 years from now or 10 years from now, people look back and they're like, wait, like that was totally different than like any other app. Like every single app, like every single one, like quote me, look it up, that has to do with money, you have to sign up or sign in or have some identifier in some way. Like you don't need that with Pay. Like that is absolutely like insane. I don't know, maybe I'm just tooting my own horn here, but like I think that's really cool. And then the request link works the same way. So you could just send a request link to someone, they click it and they can pay you on there. There's actually a safer way to send money because you can't accidentally like send the link to someone wrong or whatever. So if you're doing high value payments, use request. And then you have Pay card. So, you know, my card details are hidden obviously here.
Yep.
You can see the light up card at the bottom. It says processing shipment. Of course, I already have mine. I have a bunch sitting here next to me as well. So get your points and you can get a card that lights up. And then, yeah, I mean, literally like, that's really it. Like there's a bunch of options like back stuff up. There's like other kinds of on and off ramping I can show. Like, let's see, you can like deposit. So you can deposit from, you can see I have bank ramps here. And so like no one else has this yet. Like if you go on your app, but like, this is kind of what it would look like. And it's just like the rest of Pay. It's super simple. Yeah, like, yeah, some different chains.
So many easy ways to get your money into Pay.
Yeah, dude, get your money into Pay. Like we can't put barriers to that, you know?
Yeah. And there is, by the way, points that you can claim daily based on the amount of balance that you have. So the more balance you have, the more points that you can claim.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a lot of points, but
you obviously just put in $2 million for one day rather than
rather
than years added $2 million one day.
It was all the funds that all the VCs gave us. We just dropped it in Pay. Like
the best farmers. All right, terrific. Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I'm so glad we got to dive and jump into Pay. If you haven't checked out Pay, please go do so. Follow Sid, John, myself, and Callum all on X. Thanks so much, Sid. Anything to close this out? Anything to share about Pay? Anything about you want regular users to know that we didn't cover yet?
Yeah, man. Like honestly, like yapping is just like anyone can yap, but like please just go use it. Like give us your feedback, try it out, tell your friends about it. And like if we're talking out of our ass, call us out. But yeah, this is some real shit. Like start banking on chain.
Bank on chain, join the Telegram group, get engaged. All right, gentlemen, thanks a lot. Really terrific launch. Congrats, and look forward to seeing continued growth.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks,
John. See you later.
Carl, bye.